Am I on? Yep. Good evening, everybody. How is everyone doing this Thursday evening? Hope you guys are all having a wonderful week. Um, well, let's just say I have a mixed bag of emotions this week. So, a lot of things going on in my life, both in work, this channel, and personally. So, yeah. But let's do our quick shout outs before we get started, because tonight we are going to start the diamond pendant quilt. Where is my pattern? I know I put it here somewhere. I have to grab my pattern. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Ah, here it is. There we go. So I know some of you have already started, and you started sharing pictures both on the Treasure Heart Creations Facebook group and sending me or emailing me pictures. They look wonderful. And I'm going to show some examples and talk about some things. And there's also been a handful of questions that I've been getting about this so long, primarily from, shall we say, novice quilters that may or may not have some experience with this. And we'll go through those questions because I promised them that I would go through it tonight. So let's do some quick shout outs. Let's see who's here. We got Chula Hickson, Katie, I hope you're still on. Kim Burris is here. Michelle the Quilter is here. Hello, hello. And I was talking to all of you earlier. And we got Pearl from Moreno Valley. Hello, hello. Hi, Carissa again. Pat Wainwright. Hello, Pat. Scrolling down. Hi, Cindy. That's Cindy Milheim saying hello. Let's see. And we got a lot of people talking to each other. Hey, Sue. Donna Hoskins is here. Hey, hey, hey. And the chatbot came in. Hello, chatbot. Gayla Walters. Hello, Gayla. And Suzanne Taylor's checking in. Miss Kinono Show, how are you? Glad you made it here tonight. Okay, we got Kat F saying hello. Hi, Kat. Okay, thanks, Carissa. I'll send you the items that I was supposed to send a long time ago. All right, so as I've been mentioning, we are going to start this diamond pendant quilt, but there's a few questions that I've been receiving on email, and I wanted to address those questions here. First question that I got was the fabrics. I believe this person might just be a new quilter, and they were kind of wondering where they can pick up the fabrics. I'm not sure how old this pattern is, and I'm not really sure if these fabrics are still in production. You might be able to find a kit or two. This pattern was actually part of a kit, and that is why they listed all of these fabrics here. And this person kind of gave the impression that in order for us to make this quilt, they had to use these particular fabrics. And as most of us experienced quilters will say, no, you don't have to use those specific fabrics. So if you want to go on your own, and in fact, I'm pretty sure most of us that are going to do this quilt, we're choosing our own fabrics. And you'll see some examples of what it would look like, or give you an idea of what you can do in terms of using different fabrics. Okay, so to answer that person's question, no, you don't have to use these specific fabrics. If you find the kit and you want to use the kit, by all means, go ahead. Okay. The other question that I got had to do with the cutting instructions. And the person asked me, well, the instructions say that you should pre-cut your fabrics, your background fabrics, as well as your print fabrics to certain sizes, but they weren't sure how each of these pre-cuts matched up to the actual templates here. Okay. And the thing that this pattern in particular does really well is it has you, or it suggests that you can pre-print or pre-cut, I should say, pre-cut your fabrics to specific sizes so that you're not dealing with a whole big piece of fabric there. And the way you match up each of the cuts is through, well, for example, it'll give you the size. Let's see here. It says that cut four, no, maybe that's not a good one. Here, cut 4 strips 6.5 by the width of the fabric. Then you subcut it into rectangles. And then it has this letter and a number in parentheses. So in this case, it's A6. Okay, what that means is after it gives you all the cutting instructions, it'll give you this letter and the number in the parentheses. When you look at the template, okay, it has, well, why do I have 2 of them? Each of these templates is labeled by section. So this is section A. I know you can't read that, but if you have the pattern, you can follow along. Section A, here's section B, and there's section C. So when it has that letter refers to the section that piece is going to help you with. So for example, the 4-inch strip by 6.5, or sorry, cut 4 strips by 6.5, then you cut it to a certain size rectangle, and then it gives you the letter A and the number 6. So that means section A, which is this one, the number 6, which is this piece. So that particular cutting instruction is going to help you create this piece here. Do you have to pre-cut it? No, whenever I do paper piecing, I cut it, but I don't follow the instructions verbatim. I kind of just do a general cut, and as long as the fabric piece is enough to cover that whole section, we're good. So what you will see me do is you'll see me take my fabrics, like I have it in a fat quarter size. I'll just kind of roughly trim it, but I won't cut it to the specific sizes in the instructions. I'm going to just kind of lay it on, and then I'll just do a general trim. Okay. If you want to pre-cut it, that's certainly fine. I'm just not going to do it, because that's just kind of an extra step that I don't want to deal with. So, okay, so that's how you match up. If you are pre-cutting it, that's how you can match up which one you're actually cutting. So for the print fabrics here, you cut 4 rectangles, 4.25 by 6.75. That's section A1. So that would refer to your section A, this first piece here. Okay. Now, at first, even I got confused by that. And I was trying to figure, I kind of needed to figure that out, but then within the instructions here, it actually tells you how to match up those cut pieces. Okay, so I hope that answers the question. Okay. The last question that I did want to address tonight, fabric choices. Well, kind of refers to the first question as well. So what the person asked me was, given that we have this pattern, how is it that I choose my fabrics? If I'm not going to use the kit, or if I'm not going to use, yeah, if I'm not going to use the kit, or if I'm not going to use the fabrics that they suggest on the pattern, well, how do you pick your fabrics? So what I did is anytime I have a new pattern, one of the first fabrics that I will choose is what is the background going to be. Now, this fabric here is a very, very dark brown color, and I have a lot of it, so I figure I'm going to use this fabric for this particular project. Once I get the background fabrics, then I can start choosing some of the other fabrics that I want to work with. What I noticed about this particular paper piecing pattern is that there's a mixture of different colors within all the fabrics that they chose as the example. What I kind of decided to do was just do more of a tone on tone. Okay, what I mean by that is this. Here's this orange fabric, and here is sort of an orange fabric, but it has a mixture of green. It's got a mixture of yellow also in with this. Okay, so this is going to be one combination that I am going to do. Now, according to the pattern, the lighter fabric is going to be the more dominant, or shall I say dominant? Yeah, dominant color in each of these diamonds. Notice that each of the individual triangles, that's actually going to be the darker fabric. So when I look at these two fabrics in combination, okay, I always put it on the background because I want to see how these colors play with that background fabric. But I also want to make sure that if this is what I'm going to consider the lighter fabric, I want to cover it up or cover the majority of the darker fabric to see, is that combination going to work for me? And in this case, yeah, it will. Now, initially, when I was choosing fabrics, I chose this yellow to go with that orange. Now, the color does work for me, or the combination does work for me, but what I noticed is this. This yellow is very, very loud and very, very bright. And because it's going to be the dominant fabric within each of the blocks, my eye is going to go straight to this yellow, and it's going to overpower pretty much everything else. So I said, okay, I'll keep this yellow as an option, but then I dug through all of the scraps and to basically say, do I have a different option that'll work? That's where I found this fabric. And notice that although it is bright, it's not as bright as this yellow. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go with this combination. And if I run out of fabric, then I can use this yellow for something else on the quilt. Okay. Then the last consideration I do, once I choose all of my fabrics, okay, I do the same. Now, in this case, there were 5 different combinations. I have a look at all of it all together. And if there's any one color that screams at me or jumps at me, I might switch it up. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is I'm looking at the different combination. Do I have a good mixture? I do have a lot of blues here, so I have to be aware of the placement of where I put these two blues, in which I could just kind of swap it up. But in general, I was quite happy with this combination. So what you might not realize when you are picking fabrics is you're inadvertently, you may be kind of picking fabrics within the same color group. Again, I tend to gravitate to a lot of blue fabrics. And so I did notice that I did have kind of two combinations of that. I'm okay with it. My other option was I would take one of these out and maybe do something with a green if I had an emerald green, which I don't. So for this, for me, this works. I could also do like a darker red color. Whoops, this is supposed to go like that. Darker red color, although I do have this red. Again, if I had a green or if I had a good combination of green, I would probably swap one of these two blues out from that. So yeah, that's kind of just tips on how I choose fabrics for projects like this. Well, not just this project, but just projects in general. Sometimes it's just totally random. Other times I do plan it out and plan it out like this. Okay. Now, one thing to be aware of, one of the reasons why you do want to lay out your fabrics like this, sometimes you'll get a fabric in which, depending upon what combination you put it with, it might bring out certain colors within that fabric. So for example, I found this fabric. Now, to some of you, it might look blue. To some others of you, it might look purple. I've noticed that whenever I place it with this, okay, right now the camera is it's showing a little bit more purplish. But when I place it next to another purple color, move that out of the way, to me, it looks a little bit more bluish, but it's the same fabric. Okay, so when picking out fabrics, just lay out the different combinations to see how it all looks, because, well, it might look great with a certain fabric, but it might look horrible in another situation. So that's my tips, or those are my 2 cents when picking out fabric. So I hope that this person that gives you some ideas as to how to get how to pick out your fabrics. Okay. Now, some people and all of this is really subjective too. So I wanted to actually show you 2 examples that I received from fellow Treasure Hardies about the fabrics that they chose. Okay, so let me see if I can do this. So here is one of the fabrics, or here is one combination, or one picture that was sent in to me. What I liked about this particular block, notice that the background, it's a print fabric. A lot of times when we think of background fabrics, we usually think of solids. But in this case, this person actually used what looks to be a batik with all of those prints. And even though it is a print, there is some color in the background there. You can kind of see that it's it doesn't take over the block because the colors in the actual diamond itself kind of overpower all of that background color. So the function of a background fabric is to kind of make the focus fabrics or the prints, well, in this case, the diamond, it's supposed to shine. Okay. Sometimes when you do have a print, it can overpower if you use it as a background because of the fact that it's just way too busy or the combination just doesn't work. But in this case, this was, in my opinion, this combination of this background plus the that yellow orange kind of brownish color, as well as those triangles in the orange. This combination works for me. Okay, but again, it's all subjective too, so it may or may not be your own preference, but that's kind of each to their own. Okay. Here's another example. Okay, this was actually posted by Catherine Fisher Houston. She put it on the Treasure Heart Creations Facebook group, and she did go with a solid black background. Okay, so that black really brings out the brighter colors. And notice that the pink triangles here kind of pick up the pink polka dots. And so this combination, although you would never think of putting yellow and pink together, or if that's yellow or this orangish color, I would never really think of putting those two colors together. But because the print in this fabric picks up on that pink, it kind of works. Now, had this been a white background, this yellow may not work as well because the yellow, when you put a bright color like a yellow and a white background, sometimes it doesn't shine, or the two colors are too close together that it might not have enough contrast between the two fabrics. So something to be aware of. Okay, so I hope, I hope that gives you some tips in terms of how to get your fabrics or how to choose your fabrics. I know that people have started already, so yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's get started on this one. Okay, Donna. She has created the hot topic. What is your most frequent go-to item from your crafts for an unplanned gift? Good question. An unplanned gift. If I have an unplanned gift and I need to send something at the last minute. Good question. Let's see, did anybody answer her? Okay, Kim, another hot topic. Do you have orphan blocks, and how do you use them? I do have a ton of orphan blocks. I haven't used them. So what I'm planning to do when I have time is to just kind of sew them together and make it work and just use it as a donation quilt. Okay. Hello, Miss Gloria. Look at those beautiful fabrics I'm in. Oh, that's Donna. Okay. And okay, Donna says, take a picture of it against several different fabrics. That's a good suggestion too. Yeah. So when you do have your fabric selections, sometimes if you take it on your, or take a picture of it using your phone, or just take a picture of it in general, you'll see it differently. Okay, so I need the first piece, which is, I was gonna work with these two. Now, I don't necessarily want to work with, so I'm just going to do a general cut here. And let's see, I can use this. So I'll just cut it here. Again, not really following the instructions and pre-cutting the exact size. I'm just kind of generally cutting it so I don't have to deal with that large of a piece. I can kind of do this with it. Okay, just making sure that my piece here covers, or my fabric piece covers this entire section. That's number one. I will pin it in place. You can also glue it if you have the, what do you call it, the glue. Okay. And then I'm also gonna trim it off right here. Wait a minute, I just cut the wrong piece. Darn it. Okay. Well, I can use these pieces for the other part, but this is supposed to go with this one. So let's see. See, I already made a mistake. So I can trim it at about here. And this first piece, I can right about here. I'm just gonna cut it generally. And I will put these to the side. And on the bottom. So let me do it this way. You know what? Let me do this. I will cut this off there. So I'm not dealing with that. And where did my trash can go? I'll just toss that aside there. And I can cut it right about here. Now I can pin this. And because it's a batik, I don't have to be so much aware of right side and wrong side. Okay. Now what I will do is fold it here. So this is the first piece, in which that is going to be your print. Here's the second piece, which it's going to be this very narrow strip. So I'll take my ruler, fold on the line, and then I will fold this. Get a good fold here. Whoops. Right, then I can fold that back. I will trim it 1/4 inch. Put that piece to the side. Now, piece number 2 is a background piece in which I am just going to cut a strip or cut off a strip. And I'm not even going to straighten the edge here. It doesn't seem like I would need to, because I'm going to be trimming this down anyway. Cut a strip off there. And I will place this now right sides together with this one. Is that actually going to be wide enough? Yep. So I can cut this one off. I'll leave that there. So this will go this way. Right sides together. Whoops. And I'll just overlap it. Okay. Holding that. We'll sew from the front. So I'm going to sew right on that line between number 1 and number 2. That. Do, 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 do. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I know the computer keeps freezing because I'm actually over my data limit. So I do apologize for that. Yeah, not really much I can really help with. It's just, it is what it is. So, okay, so I sewed on, then pressing this back. Okay, so 1 and 2, so now I'm doing 3. I'm going to trim off this excess here. That can go in the crumbs. Then with 3, let me use a different ruler, or a much smaller ruler. Do I have one? Yep, this will work. So same thing, gonna kind of press it back a little bit. And I may have to take out some stitches there at the end, but it doesn't look like it. Oops. We'll fold this back. And I have to take these out. because I did not stop here. You can leave it in, or I can kind of rip this a little bit. Yep. Then I can put a 1/4 inch, measuring 1/4 inch away. Then I can trim. Okay, this I might be able to get away with it. But you know what? I am going to we'll see. Oh, no, wait. I gotta sew this. So forgot about that. Number 3 is a background. That would have been disastrous if I didn't sew the right fabric on. Okay, so we're going to flip this over, and this is going to go like that. And then we'll sew right on the line. And we'll flip it over and we press it back. Now we do 4. So I can take my ruler again. And I will fold it right there. Take the ruler, 1/4 inch away. And I will trim all of this off for now. There we go. Now I can put this. We'll try it. I don't know if it's going to be enough. In which a light box would be incredibly helpful right now. Yeah, that'll be enough. Because you can use the light box to actually see through, so you can lay your fabrics down like that, and the light, you can kind of see where the lines are, and then make a determination whether or not your fabric piece is big enough. Okay, right now I'm kind of estimating it, and looks like it will be. I hope it will. Let's see. Didn't quite get it. Okay. Is it gonna? Nope. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about that right now. What I will do here, so I'll take number 5. So that. And we'll just fold it there. I'm going to cut 1/4 inch away. A lot of this is repetitive. Whoops. I have a pin. Okay, I got this piece where I can line that up. And let's sew. Okay. Okay, we'll cut this off. And I'll cut this piece off. Well, so that. And I can cut off. Okay, I'm going to do 7, kind of going out of order, because I want to see where I want to use up this piece to do the other one that I made a mistake on already. Okay, so paper piecing is a lot of repetitive steps where you kind of place the fabric, sew the fabric on, cut or trim it down, repeat. Okay. One thing about paper piecing, though, it does create a lot of scraps or wasted material. Okay. This here, it's not quite going all the way. There's a good piece, or there's a good chunk that I actually need to fix. So let me decide what to do with that. Before I do, let's see. Save those smaller scraps for the top section. I could. In fact, I will. So usually if I am paper piecing, I will throw the scraps, make a pile like this, and before I start cutting fresh from my fat quarter, or if I'm using yardage, I'll look in the pile to see if there is a piece that can fit. Now, sometimes I do get into situations like this where, is it this one, where it doesn't exactly go all the way up. Here's how I would fix this. Okay. I am just going to pluck out a few of the stitches here. And again, as someone mentioned, this is where a light box can actually help you uh, decipher whether or not the piece is big enough, or if you need a larger size fabric piece. I'm just going to pluck out a few of the stitches. I'm not going to rip the whole thing out. What I am going to do is kind of make a makeshift, do some makeshift patchwork here. Yeah, just enough to get a little bit of piece here. This was a trick that someone taught me. And since I don't need that much, I'm going to just take this piece and I'm just going to put a seam right there. I'll fold the paper back a little bit. I'm just going to run a seam. Let's see, I have to do it, yeah, this way. Okay. A little trick someone taught me way back when. Now I do have this extra seam here, but now I have enough fabric that it actually goes all the way to where it's supposed to be, so that when I do fold this back, I can actually trim it down. Did I sew it on the wrong one? Yeah, I did sew it on the wrong one. That's okay. Wait, it was supposed to be on this one. Okay, I'll do the same thing then. I can getting my own self mixed up. Well, this is what live sessions do. Always something goes wrong. So at least I'm consistent. Okay, I'm just going to rip that off. There we go. So that one was fine. Nope, that one. Okay. That one was not fine, so I actually should have left that on, but that's okay. And we will pull this string off. Okay, and I meant to do this. Okay, try it again. Pull that back. Okay, so a little trick, if you come out just a bit short, you can and I often do come out short like this, and it does have an extra seam, but that's okay. Well, at least it's okay with me. Now I can straighten this fold out. And now I see that this is correct. Yep. So I can trim this off, and I will trim this part off. Then I need to fix this one because they both went short. So I'm just going to pluck a few of the stitches here. And I can pull that off a little bit. Fold it back. Is this going to be enough? Not quite. So let me cut a little more. That should be enough. No, I have to do it this way to make sure it is enough. You know what? I'll just do this. There we go. And we shall cut and sew. And we pluck. Whoops. Oh, excuse me. And we flip this back. Oh, sewed it on wrong. Oh boy. I am just making all sorts of errors today. That's okay. It's all in good fun. Rip that off. So it's supposed to go on like that. Trim that. Trim that. Can you tell paper piecing is not my thing? Okay, then I can fold number 6 back. And I will peel that back a little bit just to relax that. And then I can trim from here. I'll take this off and take all of that off. Okay. Pre-folding the sewing lines is also helpful. Yep, that's true. I was taught to write on the paper with the color of the fabric in the appropriate section. You know, I never thought of doing that. Maybe I should actually start doing that. Hi, Teresa. When I was constructing my test block, I misjudged a seam. I didn't feel like seam ripping, so I just fudged a patch. Turned out okay. Well, that's exactly what I just did there, Kat. So that... Okay. I know this looks rather funky right now, but when you... Like anything else, you know, when you trim it down and you start cutting it to size, it actually looks very, very good. Oh, I forgot to sew this part back on. Okay, just keep in mind that as you are constructing this, it's gonna look very, very jankety, kind of raggedy. Just trust the process and just know that when you do trim it down and you cut off all the excess, your block is going to look very good. But you got to just trust the process. Okay. Okay, 6 and 7 is a background, so I'm not going to use that. So 6, I'm just going to general cut it. That's about here. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Okay. Now again, you can pre-cut your fabrics. Nothing wrong with doing that. I'm just choosing not to do it. I don't know. After tonight, I might consider doing it though. I just didn't have time to pre-cut it. But again, this is kind of more of a free-form way of doing it. I know a lot of paper piecing quilters that I know of typically do it this way. This is kind of how I was taught paper piecing, but it's not the only way of doing it. So you do you, boo-boo. That's what I would say. Okay, so you can kind of see the block is coming along. I'm not going to care if this selvage is in there. Hopefully it won't be. Yeah, it's enough. Or even if it isn't enough, it'll get caught in the seam allowance anyway. Now I trim. I'll trim this off. And I'll trim it off from here. I won't trim this entirely. I just want to make sure that I get the majority of this off. Okay, now is this going to be enough? Nope. So I'll use that for something else. And I'll take this and I will cut it off right about here. We'll line up the fabric. Okay, here is the other reason why I don't like paper piecing. It just takes me a long time to do. Okay, we will sew on the line. And why does it seem like I'm not catching the fabrics? Did I misalign it? Something is not lining up properly. Okie dokie. Hey, Remo J. Does anyone else iron before adding the next piece? If I don't iron, I get puckers in the fabric. Good point there. I should iron, to tell you the truth. I don't, but after doing this block, we'll see how it comes out. I might start ironing. Because I can definitely tell that the fabric is kind of not cooperating in some sense. Where's my 1/4 inch there? And especially because I kind of made that patchwork out of it, it's a little bulky and standing up. Okay, one last cut here. And we have all the trimmings. Okay, let's see how I did. Moment of truth. Da, 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 da. Okay, little mishap there. Otherwise, if I sew the block together, is that? No, I'm going to have to actually patch that up too. Okay, so that actually should have gone all the way out. Let me do a quick fix on this. Okay, so since I failed a lot on this one, I think I'm going to start pre-cutting the fabric. That might be a better idea to do that. Do as the instructions say, don't do as I just did. So I need to put that back, and then also these two on. Where does it start to go fall short? Right about here. And then I need to sew this back on. Okay, and then I can trim. Okay, so now let me press this. Okay, so I got a little bit of an issue there, but first one, a bit jankety. I'll do the top. I'll have to finish the top. But lesson learned. Okay, I'm going to start to pre-cut the fabric because, yeah, I made a lot of mistakes on this one. But you learn as you go, right? So, I haven't done paper piecing yet. Okay, Donna, give it a try. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I just kind of showed you how to do some patchwork when it comes out a little bit short. So there's a tip for you. It's so much fun. Did I share with you the Christmas tree I made for a client? No. Does okay. So that is it for tonight. I'm gonna well, I'm going to have to fix this block here because in this case, I should have actually pressed that out, but I didn't. So I'm going to fix that, and then I will complete the top, and then I'm going to continue on with it. So Donna and Kim, and I don't see if I didn't see anybody else do one, but because the two of you were the first two, if I recall, that created a hot topic question, although I don't see anybody answering the question. Send me an email with your mailing address. I will send you a small gift, as promised. I'm just kind of checking to see if anybody else did a hot topic question and if anybody answered the hot topic question. Haha. Okay. And if you did, well, I'm sorry if I missed it. I'm just kind of scrolling through the chat. Okay, Kim's question was, do you have orphan blocks and how do you use them? Donna's question was, what is your most frequent go-to item for your crafts for an unplanned gift? I think I do. It's usually between a wreath, even just a simple thank you card, or a Christmas ornament. And I did answer Kim's question, but for those of you who came in late, Kim's question was, what do you do with all your orphan blocks? I just sew them together and try to make sense out of it and put it together in a quilt that's going to get donated. So, all right, guys. So here's what I am going to propose. Now, every live, I am going to, how do I say this? I am going to do a giveaway of some small gift item. What that item will be, I don't know. But you can participate in these giveaways by simply doing these things. Okay, post a picture of the blocks. If you are sewing along, just post a picture of these blocks either on the community tab here on YouTube. If you don't know how to do that, you can kind of, you do have to, it's easier if you do it from a computer rather than on your phone. Just go to the Treasure Heart Creations YouTube channel and you're going to look for the community tab, in which it'll allow you to post pictures. Or if you are a member of the Treasure Heart Creations Facebook group, you can post a picture there. And for this week, and only this week, up until you have till Wednesday, Wednesday night, of which will be the night before. So Wednesday, July 15th, post a picture either on the community tab here on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook group. You'll be entered to win, and we're gonna just pick somebody at random to whoever posts a picture of their completed blocks, or maybe if it is a work in progress, that's fine. And we're gonna just select a random winner, and you'll get a little something. It won't be anything like really extravagant, but you'll get a little something, because here's the thing. I am packing up and I am in the process of moving, and I need to get rid of some crafting supplies. So, yeah. So again, you'll have till July the 15th to post a picture either on the Facebook group or right here on the Treasure Heart Creations YouTube channel, and you'll be entered to win. We'll announce the winner on the next live. And following the week after that, we'll do another giveaway. It'll be something different though. Yeah. Also, I should mention, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, this Saturday, July 11th, is the next Zoom. So if you are following along with or doing this paper piecing pattern with me and you run into problems, obviously I ran into a lot of problems tonight. So um, I'm going to be asking questions to some paper piecing experts that are on Zoom. So if you have questions or if you have problems, join us on the Zoom. You can send an email to treasureheartcreations@gmail.com. We'll get you the information. You can join in on the Zoom. It starts at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we go till whenever we drop. Yeah. All right, guys. I think that's it. Donna Huskin says, I do tote bags, mug rugs, jar openers, bowl cozies, etc. I think she's answering Kim's question. Let's see. Kat says, I've fallen in love with folded fabric Christmas ornaments. Okay, Kat? I think that's what I'll be giving away. We'll have to see. Gayla says, my thoughts are if the pieces are pre-cut, you can cut them so the edges of the block are more on the straight of grain, which in turns will be easier to join the blocks. That's actually true. Because I've been kind of just piecemealing these this block together, a lot of the edges are probably on the bias, in which, it is what it is. Some people say that it's bad to have blocks on the bias. Some people say it's all right. It's just a matter of personal preference. But Gayla, you are correct in that you can control where the bias is and thereby you might get a better result from that. So that's a great point there. Haven't done paper piecing yet. That was Donna. All right, so that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you guys for joining me here and bearing with me with all these technical problems. I do understand that I do understand that the computer was freezing. I'll have to look into that and talk with the internet provider to see if how much it would be for me to up the data plan. But thanks for tolerating it. Have a great evening. Again, we'll see you on Zoom for those of you who are interested on Saturday. But yeah, until then, let's all get out there. Let's all make our blocks. Let's all create something. Bye for now.